Hey there, book lovers. Welcome to the Book Lounge, your cozy corner for stories that inspire, challenge, and sometimes completely transform the way we think about life. Have you ever wondered what people wish they'd done differently at the end of their lives? What if the wisdom of those final reflections could help us live a life with fewer regrets, starting right now? Today, we're uncovering the profound lessons from the top 5 regrets of the dying, a life transformed by the dearly departing, by Bronnie Ware. This isn't just another book, it's a heartfelt conversation with those who've walked life's full journey, sharing insights so powerful they could reshape the way you see your days, your choices, and your relationships. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of how to make your life more meaningful, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with practical wisdom to live more intentionally and authentically, and maybe even a new perspective on what truly matters. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's uncover the kind of clarity that could change everything. Let's begin. Regret 1. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The first regret Bronnie Ware shares is both profound and deeply universal. The longing to have lived a life true to oneself, free from the weight of societal expectations or the desires of others. As Ware reflects on the stories of her patients, this regret emerges time and again. A poignant reminder of how easily people can lose themselves while striving to meet external standards or gain approval from family, peers, and society. Living for others, losing yourself. Many of those nearing the end of life confess to having lived large portions of their lives according to someone else's script. They pursued careers they didn't love, stayed in relationships that no longer served them, or shaped their decisions based on what they thought others wanted, not what they truly desired. Over the years, their authentic selves faded into the background as they played roles that weren't their own. This regret is especially poignant because the realization often comes too late. Only when their time was running out did these individuals fully grasp how much of their lives had been spent fulfilling others' dreams instead of their own. Their confessions are a powerful call to examine whether we are truly living in alignment with our values, passions, and deepest aspirations, or simply reacting to expectations imposed on us. The fear of disapproval. A common thread in these stories is the fear of judgment. People shy away from chasing their dreams or making unconventional choices because they are afraid of disappointing others. This fear often starts early, shaped by parents, teachers, or cultural norms. Over time, it becomes a habit, a quiet, invisible force dictating decisions about careers, relationships, and even how one spends their days. But as these individuals reflected on their lives, they realized something critical. Most of the judgment they feared never truly mattered. The people they sought to please either moved on or had their own struggles to contend with. What remained was the haunting awareness that they had sacrificed their own happiness for approval that was fleeting at best. What does it mean to be true to yourself? Living true to yourself doesn't mean disregarding the needs of others or acting selfishly. It means honoring your own voice, passions, and identity. It's about having the courage to ask yourself, what do I truly want? And then taking steps, however small, to align your life with that answer. For many of Ware's patients, being true to themselves could have meant pursuing a different career, traveling more, or expressing emotions they'd kept bottled up for years. For others, it meant giving themselves permission to rest, to say no, or to redefine what success looked like. The price of inaction. One of the most sobering realizations among the dying was that inaction carries a heavier price than failure ever could. Dreams left unexplored, words left unsaid, and ambitions pushed aside create a unique kind of pain. A pain compounded by the knowledge that time has run out. Many of the patients admitted that they had all the opportunities they needed to follow their hearts, but they let fear, inertia, or the comfort of routine hold them back. Yet, there's hope in this regret. The awareness that each of us has the power to change course before it's too late. Unlike the dying, many of us still have time to ask the hard questions and make the bold choices required to live authentically. Breaking free, lessons for the living. The stories of those who voice this regret carry a clear message. Courage is key. Living authentically requires stepping out of comfort zones and making decisions that may not always align with the expectations of others. It may involve difficult conversations, periods of uncertainty, or even the loss of relationships. But the reward is a life filled with meaning, purpose, and peace. One where you can look back without wishing you had lived differently. Here are a few takeaways to help avoid this regret. 1. Reflect often. Take time regularly to evaluate whether your life aligns with your values and aspirations. 2. Start small. Begin with one small step toward authenticity, a hobby you've always wanted to try, a boundary you've been meaning to set, or a decision you've been putting off. 3. Embrace imperfection. Remember that living true to yourself doesn't mean getting it all right. It's a process, not a destination. 4. Face the fear. Most of the time, the fear of judgment is far worse than the judgment itself, and when you stay true to yourself, you may inspire others to do the same. A life without regret. Ultimately, this regret reminds us that we have a choice. We can either live for the expectations of others, or step boldly into a life that feels like our own. While the dying teach us that the time to make this shift is finite, their wisdom also reassures us. As long as we are here, it's never too late to begin living authentically. Every choice we make to honor our true selves brings us closer to a life of fulfillment, connection, and peace. Regret 2. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. The second regret that frequently surfaces as people near the end of their lives is one that is deeply rooted in modern society. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This regret serves as a sobering reminder of how easily we can become consumed by work, ambition, and the constant pursuit of success, often at the expense of our health, relationships, and personal happiness. While many people spend the majority of their lives striving for professional accomplishments, wealth, and recognition, many of those reflecting on their lives express a profound sense of loss when they realize that their work consumed far more of their time and energy than was ever truly worth it. The cost of overworking. For most of us, work is a necessity. It provides financial stability, a sense of purpose, and structure to our lives. But when the pursuit of professional success becomes all-encompassing, it can begin to take a heavy toll on the things that truly matter: family, friendships, health, and the simple pleasures of life. People nearing the end of their lives often share that they were so focused on climbing the ladder of success, earning promotions, or achieving financial goals that they missed out on the moments that made life worth living. One of the most common reflections of those who expressed this regret was the realization that they had sacrificed their health for work. Long hours, missed vacations, endless meetings, and stressful deadlines created an environment in which self-care and downtime were seen as luxuries, not necessities. People often find themselves looking back on years spent chasing after a goal that no longer holds the same significance. The hidden impact on relationships. This regret is also closely tied to the effect that overworking has on relationships. Many of the people who express this regret wish they had spent more time with their families and loved ones. Whether it was missing out on children's milestones, being absent during important moments, or simply neglecting the people closest to them, the absence of quality time with those they cared about was a source of deep regret. They often wished they had been more present, more available, and more connected with the people who meant the most. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or partners, require time and effort. Yet the demands of work often leave little room for these vital connections. Some reflected on how they allowed work to take precedence over the emotional and physical presence needed to nurture relationships, often leading to feelings of isolation, loneliness, and disconnection. The illusion of endless time. Another powerful insight that emerges from this regret is the realization that time is not infinite. People spend years, and sometimes decades, believing they have all the time in the world to rest, take vacations, or enjoy life's simple pleasures. However, it's only when time becomes limited that the true value of those moments becomes painfully clear. Many individuals confessed that they had worked tirelessly with the belief that they would eventually have time to slow down, but for most, that time never came. This is a critical point to reflect on, especially in a world where many of us feel the pressure to constantly perform and achieve. The fear of missing out, or FOMO, often drives people to overwork, but this mindset can prevent us from appreciating the life we're living in the present moment. The truth is, work can often wait, but the moments we choose to ignore, whether it's an evening with family, a quiet moment in nature, or a long overdue conversation with a friend, cannot be recaptured. The false promise of more. Many of those who expressed this regret admitted that, in their pursuit of success, they believed that more money, more recognition, or more accomplishments would ultimately bring them happiness and fulfillment. However, when they looked back, they realized that the constant striving for more never truly satisfied them. The happiness that came from work was fleeting, and it was replaced by an ongoing desire for more. This mindset, the belief that more is always the answer, can trap people in an endless cycle of overwork. They postpone personal joy for future rewards that often never bring the deep satisfaction they expected. People near the end of their lives wish they had understood earlier that contentment and fulfillment don't come from accumulating wealth or climbing the corporate ladder. Instead, they come from connection, balance, and living a life that reflects your true values. How to avoid this regret? The key takeaway from this regret is the importance of balance. While work is undeniably important, it should never come at the expense of your well-being or relationships. Here are some ways to avoid falling into the same trap. 1. Set boundaries. Learn to draw a line between work and personal time. Don't let your job invade every hour of your day. Prioritize quality time with family, friends, and yourself. 2. Prioritize self-care. Your health is your most valuable asset. Make time for exercise, rest, and activities that nourish your body and mind. 3. Live in the present. Instead of constantly chasing the next goal, take time to appreciate the present moment. The small, everyday joys are often the ones that bring the most fulfillment. 4. Shift your perspective on success. Redefine success to include not just career achievements, but also personal happiness, emotional well-being, and the richness of your relationships. 5. Focus on what matters. Reflect on your values and what truly brings you happiness. Redirect your time and energy toward those things instead of getting caught up in external expectations or superficial measures of success. A life with meaning. In the end, this regret reminds us that a life consumed by work, no matter how successful, can feel hollow if it is not balanced by the things that truly matter. As we continue our journey, we can take these reflections as an opportunity to reassess our own lives. By prioritizing what is truly important, we can avoid this regret and live with a greater sense of fulfillment, peace, and connection. After all, it's not how much we work, but how we live and love that makes life truly meaningful. Regret 3. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. One of the most profound regrets that emerged from those reflecting on their lives as they neared the end was the longing to have expressed their true feelings more openly and honestly. This regret speaks to the heart of human connection, the desire to be understood, to communicate authentically, and to release the emotional weight of unspoken words. Far too often, people hold back their feelings, whether out of fear, pride, or a sense of duty, only to realize later that their silence has caused unnecessary suffering or distance in their relationships. The burden of unspoken words. Many people expressed that they had suppressed their true feelings for the majority of their lives, whether due to fear of conflict, embarrassment, or the belief that their emotions were too raw or inappropriate to be shared. This repression often leads to a buildup of resentment, frustration, and regret. Unspoken emotions, if left unaddressed, accumulate like a weight on the heart, silently eating away at relationships, mental health, and inner peace. As people reach the end of their lives, they recognize that the failure to express their feelings had been one of their biggest mistakes. They realize that not only did it damage their relationships, but it also kept them from living more authentically. These people wish they had let go of their fears of judgment or rejection and had spoken their truth, whether it was expressing love, admitting vulnerability, or confronting unresolved issues. The emotional toll of holding back was far greater than the discomfort they had avoided by staying silent. Fear of rejection and conflict. A key reason why people tend to keep their feelings hidden is the fear of rejection or causing conflict. Many are conditioned to believe that expressing strong emotions, especially negative ones, will push others away or lead to confrontations. Some may feel that their feelings are not valid, or they may worry that others will not understand or appreciate their emotional openness. This fear is particularly common in family dynamics or romantic relationships, where people might hold back their true feelings in an attempt to keep the peace or avoid upsetting someone they care about. But in the final stages of life, these fears seem less important. The people reflecting on their lives shared that they regretted letting the fear of conflict or rejection control their actions for so long. Many wish they had confronted difficult emotions, had the courage to speak up, and had allowed their relationships to evolve through honest communication, even if it meant facing uncomfortable moments. The power of vulnerability. In the end, the people who express this regret often wish they had been more vulnerable in their relationships. Vulnerability, the willingness to be open about our deepest emotions, holds the key to deeper connections and more fulfilling interactions. Yet, vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, a threat to our sense of control, or something to be avoided at all costs. But what these individuals came to realize is that vulnerability is, in fact, a powerful strength that allows us to connect more deeply with others. When we allow ourselves to express our true feelings, we create opportunities for emotional intimacy. We give others the chance to see us as we really are, flawed, imperfect, and deeply human. This kind of authenticity invites love and understanding, not rejection. In fact, by hiding our feelings, we often create more distance and misunderstandings. When we share what is in our hearts, we offer others the chance to truly see us, and this fosters a sense of mutual respect and connection. The impact on relationships. One of the most significant consequences of suppressing feelings is the toll it takes on relationships. People often keep their true emotions hidden to avoid conflict or to preserve harmony. However, over time, this emotional suppression erodes trust, creates distance, and can even lead to feelings of bitterness or resentment. In some cases, these suppressed feelings go unaddressed for so long that the relationship suffers irreparable damage. People who expressed this regret admitted that in many cases they had not been honest about their needs, desires, or grievances. Whether it was a failure to say "I love you" enough, a reluctance to speak up about hurt feelings, or a refusal to share deeper emotions, their unspoken words had created a wall between them and the people they cared about most. As they reflected on their lives, they wished they had let go of their fear and opened up more freely. The importance of self-expression. Expressing our feelings is not only essential for healthy relationships, but also for our own emotional well-being. Bottling up emotions can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and a general sense of disconnection. When we suppress our feelings, we deny ourselves the opportunity to process and release difficult emotions, leaving them to fester and grow inside us. When we allow ourselves to express our feelings, whether through words, actions, or even creative outlets, we experience a profound sense of relief. It's an act of self-liberation where we release the emotional weight that has been holding us down. Speaking up allows us to reclaim our power and take control of our emotional health. It's an invitation to live more authentically, without the fear of being judged or misunderstood. How to live with courageous expression. While expressing our feelings may be difficult at times, there are steps we can take to do so with courage and authenticity. 1. Start small. Begin by expressing your feelings in small ways, through simple conversations, writing in a journal, or sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend. Gradually work your way up to more challenging emotions. 2. Be honest. Be truthful about your emotions, even when it feels uncomfortable. Saying what you truly feel is an act of self-respect and honesty. 3. Embrace vulnerability. Recognize that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. It's through vulnerability that we form deep, meaningful connections. 4. Practice active listening. When you express your feelings, give others the space to do the same. Listening with empathy and understanding strengthens relationships and fosters mutual respect. 5. Let go of fear. Understand that expressing your feelings is not about being perfect. It's about being real. Let go of the fear of rejection or conflict and embrace the freedom that comes with emotional honesty. A life free from regret. Ultimately, the regret of not expressing feelings is a reminder that our emotions are part of who we are, and sharing them is essential for living a full and connected life. By speaking our truth, we open the door to deeper understanding, compassion, and intimacy with others. More importantly, we honor ourselves and our own emotional needs. It's never too late to start expressing your feelings, and by doing so, you can transform your relationships and your sense of self, leaving behind a life not defined by regret, but by the courage to be real. Regret 4. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. As people near the end of their lives, many realize that the relationships they cherish most are the ones that they neglected over time. One of the most common regrets expressed by the dying is the wish that they had stayed in touch with their friends. Life often gets in the way: work, family responsibilities, personal struggles. And before we know it, we have let precious friendships slip through the cracks. As time goes by, people reflect on how little effort they put into maintaining these connections and how much it has cost them emotionally. This regret is especially powerful because friendships are often seen as a source of joy, support, and belonging. Yet many people find themselves caught up in the busyness of life, allowing distance and time to erode bonds that once felt unbreakable. When people look back, they wish they had prioritized these relationships instead of allowing them to fade into the background. The role of friends in our lives. Friendships are one of the most important aspects of a fulfilling life. These relationships provide emotional support, a sense of belonging, and moments of joy and laughter that lighten life's challenges. Friends are often the people who stand by us during difficult times, celebrating our successes and comforting us during our losses. However, as the pace of life accelerates, we often forget to nurture these relationships. Many people regret not taking the time to stay connected with their friends, whether it was because of busy careers, family obligations, or simply the assumption that they had all the time in the world. What they came to realize too late is that life is unpredictable, and the moments spent with friends cannot be replaced. Friends bring a unique richness to life that no amount of success, wealth, or achievement can. The drift of time. The passage of time is a subtle but powerful force. Over the years, people tend to get caught up in their own lives, and gradually they lose touch with friends. What starts as an occasional missed call or skipped get-together can turn into years of silence. This slow drift often goes unnoticed until it's too late, and people realize they haven't spoken to some of their closest friends in years. As the end of life approaches, these lost connections feel like an emotional void that cannot be filled. For many, this regret is painful because it's not just about the absence of friendship. It's about the missed opportunities to share experiences, to laugh, to cry, and to offer support. The emotional cost of letting these bonds slip away is often far greater than the initial reasons that caused the distance in the first place. The impact of neglecting friendships. When people reflect on their lives, they often wish they had made more of an effort to maintain their friendships. In many cases, they realize that their friends were the ones who kept them grounded, offered fresh perspectives, and helped them stay true to themselves. These connections provided comfort and stability through life's ups and downs. The regret of not staying in touch with friends can be particularly poignant because it often stems from missed opportunities to rekindle relationships before time ran out. These missed moments, whether it was a simple phone call, a coffee date, or a heartfelt letter, can weigh heavily on a person's heart, especially when the realization hits that some friendships are lost for good. The influence of technology. In today's world, staying in touch with friends has never been easier. With social media, texting, and video calls, we have the ability to communicate with anyone, anywhere, at any time. Yet despite these advances, many still feel isolated. Technology has made it easier to maintain superficial connections, but it hasn't necessarily fostered deep, meaningful relationships. The sheer convenience of digital communication can sometimes lead us to believe that we are keeping in touch, when in reality, we are only skimming the surface of what true friendship requires. People near the end of their lives often regret relying on digital communication instead of investing in face-to-face interactions. Social media, for all its advantages, cannot replace the warmth of a real hug, the joy of shared laughter, or the depth of a genuine conversation. While technology can bridge the gap when distance is a factor, it cannot replace the true essence of friendship. Friendship requires effort. One of the key realizations that emerge from this regret is the understanding that friendship requires effort. It's easy to let the busyness of life distract us from nurturing our relationships, but true friends are worth the time and energy. A lasting friendship isn't built on occasional texts or social media interactions. It's formed through shared experiences, emotional support, and consistent communication. Many people regret not reaching out more often, not making the effort to stay connected, and not prioritizing time with friends. They wish they had taken the opportunity to show appreciation for their friends, to offer a listening ear, and to create lasting memories together. These small acts of kindness and care are what truly strengthen friendships over time. The power of rekindling lost friendships. For those who feel the pain of lost friendships, there is still hope. Rekindling a friendship is possible, even if it's been years since you last spoke. The first step is often the hardest: reaching out. Sending a message, making a phone call, or organizing a meeting can be the catalyst for renewing a meaningful connection. Many people near the end of their lives wish they had made that first step sooner. Even if a friendship cannot be fully restored, the act of reaching out can bring a sense of closure or peace. Sometimes, just reconnecting with a person and expressing how much they meant to you can create a moment of reconciliation and understanding. How to avoid this regret. To avoid the regret of letting friendships fade away, it's important to prioritize these relationships while we still have time. Here are a few ways to stay connected with friends. 1. Make time for friendships. Despite busy schedules, set aside time to connect with friends regularly. Even small moments, like a quick coffee or a short phone call, can make a big difference. 2. Be present. It's not enough to be physically present. Emotional availability is key. Listen, share, and show genuine interest in the lives of your friends. 3. Reach out first. Don't wait for your friends to make the first move. Be proactive in reaching out and keeping the lines of communication open. 4. Create new memories. Spend time together doing things that create lasting memories. Travel, laugh, and embrace new experiences that deepen your bond. 5. Express appreciation. Let your friends know how much they mean to you. A simple, "I'm grateful for you," can go a long way in strengthening a friendship. A life well lived. Ultimately, the regret of not staying in touch with friends is a reminder that relationships, especially friendships, are what make life truly fulfilling. As we move through life, it's easy to get distracted by other pursuits, but the connections we form with others are the foundation of our happiness and well-being. By prioritizing our friends and making the effort to stay in touch, we can build a life rich in love, support, and shared memories, leaving behind no room for regret when our time comes. Regret 5. I wish I had let myself be happier. As we arrive at the final regret shared in this transformative book, we uncover one of the most striking truths about life. Happiness is often a choice. This last regret resonates deeply, as it speaks to a realization many people only grasp when time is running out, that they could have allowed themselves to be happier, but didn't. It's a bittersweet conclusion, a powerful reminder that life's greatest joy is often within our control. But fear, complacency, and self-imposed limitations can hold us back. The dying often shared that much of their unhappiness was not because of external circumstances, but because of the way they responded to life. They reflected on how they lived trapped by routines, worries, and the expectations of others, rather than embracing the freedom to be happy. The regret of not letting oneself be happier is a call to awaken, to stop postponing joy, and to live with intentionality and courage. The comfort zone, a subtle prison. One of the biggest obstacles to happiness is the invisible cage of the comfort zone. People often cling to familiarity because it feels safe, even if it doesn't bring them joy. The dying spoke of how they avoided taking risks or stepping outside their routines, fearing change or failure. They stayed in unfulfilling jobs, stuck with unhealthy habits, or ignored opportunities for adventure because it was easier to stay put. In hindsight, they realized how much these choices cost them. The comfort zone, while seemingly secure, can become a trap that stifles growth and prevents people from pursuing what truly lights them up. Looking back, they wish they had dared to take more chances, to explore new experiences, and to trust that life had more to offer if only they'd been willing to reach for it. The chains of fear and judgment. Fear, especially the fear of judgment, was another major reason people held themselves back from happiness. They worried about what others might think if they followed their own path or pursued their own desires. Would they seem selfish, foolish, or irresponsible? These fears kept them conforming to societal expectations, prioritizing appearances, and avoiding actions that might disrupt the status quo. This fear of judgment extended to how they expressed emotions or pursued their passions. Many reflected on how they suppressed laughter, avoided showing vulnerability, or stifled their inner child, all in the name of being appropriate or acceptable. In their final reflections, they understood that these fears were baseless. They wished they had cared less about what others thought and more about how they truly felt. Happiness is a choice. At the heart of this regret lies a profound truth. Happiness is not something that happens to us. It's something we choose. The dying often realized too late that their happiness had been within their grasp all along, but they had let circumstances or their own mindset get in the way. They clung to grievances, held on to regrets, and let negativity cloud their perspective, instead of seeking gratitude, forgiveness, and joy. The realization that happiness is a choice is liberating, but it also comes with responsibility. It means accepting that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. By shifting our focus to what we can appreciate rather than what we lack, and by taking intentional steps toward fulfillment, we can unlock a happiness that no external factor can diminish. Trap of when thinking. Many people fall into the trap of deferring happiness, believing that it will come later when they achieve a certain goal, earn a certain amount of money, or fix certain aspects of their lives. This when-then thinking creates a cycle where happiness is always just out of reach, tied to external circumstances that may never align perfectly. Those who looked back on their lives with this regret wish they had broken free from this mindset. They came to understand that happiness isn't something we find in the future. It's something we create in the present. They wished they had savored life's simple pleasures, embraced moments of laughter, and prioritized the things that brought them joy rather than endlessly chasing external markers of success. The power of perspective. The regret of not allowing oneself to be happier also stems from the way people view their lives. Many of the dying shared that they often focused on what was wrong rather than what was right. They dwelled on past mistakes, worried about things beyond their control, and allowed negativity to overshadow the beauty that existed around them. This perspective shift, learning to focus on gratitude and the positive aspects of life, was something they wished they had embraced sooner. By practicing gratitude, they could have found joy in even the smallest of moments, from a beautiful sunrise to the laughter of loved ones. They wished they had taken life less seriously and allowed themselves to find humor and lightness even in difficult situations. Living without this regret. The lessons from this final regret are clear and powerful. Happiness is a gift we can give ourselves, and it's never too late to start. Here are a few ways to live without this regret. 1. Cultivate gratitude. Focus on the good in your life. Make it a habit to acknowledge and appreciate the small joys each day. 2. Embrace playfulness. Don't take life so seriously. Laugh often, find humor in everyday situations, and nurture your inner child. 3. Let go of negativity. Release grudges, self-criticism, and fears of judgment. Choose forgiveness for others and for yourself. 4. Live authentically. Pursue the things that truly make you happy, even if they don't align with others' expectations. Follow your heart without apology. 5. Be present. Stop waiting for the right time to be happy. Choose joy in the here and now, and make the most of every moment. A life without regret. This final regret is a powerful reminder that we hold the keys to our own happiness. It's a call to wake up, to stop deferring joy, and to live with intention and gratitude. Happiness isn't a luxury, it's an essential part of a life well lived. By letting go of fear, embracing the present, and choosing joy, we can ensure that when our time comes, we'll look back on our lives not with regret, but with peace and fulfillment. Thank you for listening to this transformative journey through the top 5 regrets of the dying. If this audiobook resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Book Lounge for more life-changing stories and powerful lessons. Now, it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments. What's one key takeaway that struck a chord with you? Which regret or insight will you reflect on in your own life? I'd also love to know what book or topic you'd like me to cover next. Your ideas inspire the content here. And before you go, don't miss the chance to grab your free one-page summary of this audiobook. It's the perfect way to revisit the highlights and carry these lessons with you. Just click the link in the video description below to download it. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next chapter of the Book Lounge.